Hi, this is Sibila Extreme Vocal and a quick tip for today: how to fry scream lower. In one of recent videos, I've mentioned that you don't have to depend only on the pitch to make your scream sound higher or lower. If you didn't watch that video and you are curious about that topic and how it works and so on, check out the one called How to Lower Your Fry Scream. And today we are going to focus on one very simple exercise that will help you to get a more massive, thicker, and lower fry scream. Whoa, 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 whoa. The first step is to yawn. Yawning makes our vocal tract bigger and it darkens our sound color. And we need our voice to be a bit darker in order to achieve lower fry scream. So let's repeat a couple of times that yawning sound. We are aiming for a bit rounded, soft, but confident and opened sound. You can also feel that sound is getting gradually bigger, like it was expanding up and forward, like play around with different pitches, but stick with what feels the most natural for you. The pitch shouldn't be very low, like for example in my case, because that sound is simply too weak, too small, and too breathy to become a solid enough foundation for a later fry scream. So it's more effective to aim for a mid-low pitch. So it's not totally like the level of your speaking voice, it's not the pitch of your speaking voice, it's a bit lower, but it's not the lowest note that you can produce. So that mid-low setting, for example, in my case, whoa, 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 feels much more consistent, much more stable, and strong enough to handle a lower and more massive fry scream during the rest of that exercise. The second step is to create a syllable whoa, 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 using that yawning setting. So yawning is like, and now we'll make the whoa syllable using that setting from yawning, like whoa, 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 whoa. I am showing that movement with my hand because the most common mistake when it comes to practicing with yawning, both with singing and screaming, is moving the root of the tongue backwards, like we wanted to swallow our tongue. So in such a situation, it would sound like roar, roar, or roar. It doesn't feel very natural. It creates constrictions in the root of the tongue, which can also create extra tension in your larynx and vocal folds. So it's not the best way to practice lower and darker vocals. And when we imagine that sound is flowing like this, up and forward, even if it's deep, dark, and low, then we avoid swallowing the root of our tongue. The root of the tongue can move lower along the larynx, but shouldn't be pulled backwards. Whoa, 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 whoa. Once it feels easy, sustainable, and consistent, then you are ready for the third and the final step in this exercise. And it's about the gradual transition from that clean, darker, and mid-low sound of your voice into the fry scream. And it can sound like this. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. It almost sounds like false chord, but false chord would be something more like whoa, 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 hey, hey. And here the sound is more compressed, sharper, less breathy, and I can feel bubbles exploding in the area of my vocal folds and the vocal tract, which is the area between the back of the tongue and the soft palate. Whoa, 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 whoa. Anyway, let's repeat it a couple of times more. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. You can play around with different pitches. If mid-low isn't good for you, you can try a bit higher. So in my case, it would be, for example, instead of whoa, 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 more like this, more like this. Whoa, 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 whoa. If you are able to do Kargira throat singing or distortion, like whoa, or yeah, wow, wow. Even a basic distortion like this, you can make a transition from your Kargira or distortion into the fry scream. It will result in creating even thicker and more massive, more aggressive and more distorted sound of your fry scream. And it can sound, for example, like this. Whoa, 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 whoa. And it feels almost the same as false chord, because when we do distortion or Kargira throat singing, we are engaging our false vocal folds. So a normal fry scream depends mostly on the work of our true vocal folds, but when we transit from distortion or Kargira into the fry scream, we are engaging, there's extra engagement from our false vocal folds during the fry scream. So we have two sources of distortion that blend together. Some people call it mixed drive or something like this. So the difference between a regular fry scream, wow, whoa, 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 and that with extra false vocal folds activity is something like this. Whoa, 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 whoa. So it sounds much more massive. So this is also a way how you can practice with that exercise, learning distortion and Kargira, and learning how to darken your sound color, and then going from lower, darker distortion or Kargira into a fry scream can result in achieving lower but also much more distorted and thicker, more massive sound of your fry scream. Okay, so I think that's enough for today. I hope that this simple method and its various versions will turn out effective and helpful for you as much as they are for me and my students that I practice with every day. In case of any questions or if you wanted to practice vocals together, feel free to contact me anytime or write a comment below this video. Thank you very much, have a great day, have a great practice. Cheers and love, fuckers. Some people stay